What if I told you one of the most important plants in human history is basically a science experiment that got completely out of hand? I'm talking about corn, or maize if you're feeling fancy. A plant so successful that humanity somehow managed to put it into almost everything: food, fuel, soda, candy, plastic, and animal feed, just to name a few. At this point, if aliens arrived tomorrow and studied Earth, they would probably conclude that corn is in charge and we're just helping it spread. I'm not entirely convinced they're wrong. That and cat. Granted, I love cat. The animal, not the shitty live action musical. Today, corn is one of the most widely grown crops on Earth. Hundreds of millions of tons are produced every year. Entire economies depend on it. Countries rely on it. Industries rely on it. And most people don't think about it unless it's covered in butter at a barbecue. Which is unfortunate because corn's history is actually insane. Unlike bananas, potatoes, or coffee, corn wasn't simply discovered. Humanity basically built it. Now, corn originated in what is now Mexico thousands of years ago. The ancestor of modern corn was a wild grass called teosinte. And when I say ancestor, I need you to understand something. It looks absolutely nothing like modern corn. Seriously, the first time I saw a picture of it, I thought Google was fucking with me. Imagine somebody showing you a picture of a wolf and then telling you that after enough selective breeding, it became a fucking chihuahua. Now imagine somebody showing you a random patch of grass and telling you it became corn. That's teosinte. Ancient farmers began selectively breeding this plant roughly 9,000 years ago. Generation after generation, they chose plants that had traits they liked: bigger kernels, more kernels, and softer kernels. Plants that were easier to harvest. Over thousands of years, those small decisions completely transformed the species. This wasn't genetic engineering. There were no laboratories, microscope, or scientists in white coats. Just farmers patiently improving crop one generation at a time. And somehow they created one of the greatest agricultural success stories in human history. Because modern corn can't really survive on its own very well. Kernels are attached tightly to the cob, which is great for humans, but terrible for a plant trying to spread naturally. Corn became so dependent on people that essentially entered into a large-term relationship with humanity. And unlike most relationships, this one actually worked. As civilizations in the Americas grew, so did the importance of corn. It became a staple food for countless cultures. Entire societies depended on it. People developed new farming techniques around it. Religious traditions formed around it. Some cultures even viewed corn as a sacred gift, which makes sense. A single crop is feeding your civilization, you're probably going to see it as a gift from the heavens. Meanwhile, Europe had honestly no idea corn existed. And the reason wasn't complicated at all. There was a whole ocean in the way. But after European contact with the Americas, corn began spreading rapidly across the world. And people quickly realized something important. This stuff grows almost everywhere. Now, it isn't quite the agricultural superweapon that the potato turned out to be, but it was incredibly productive. Before long, it was going across Europe, Africa, and Asia. Farmers adopted it because it was productive. Governments liked it because it fed populations, and populations liked it because starving is generally not well liked. Over time, corn became one of the most important crops on Earth. But here is where the story gets even stranger, because most people think corn is just food. It isn't. It's everything. Corn can be turned into livestock feed, it can be turned into fuel, it can be an industrial product, it can become a sweetener, it can become alcohol. At some point, humanity stopped asking what corn could do and started asking what corn couldn't do. The answer appears to be very little, especially in the United States. America has a relationship with corn that borders on obsession. A huge percentage of products at grocery stores contain corn in one form or another. Corn syrup, corn starch, corn oil, ingredients that sound like pharmaceutical side effects, but are actually corn. If you start reading labels, you'll notice corn everywhere. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. It's like realizing every blockbuster movie somehow contains the same 5 actors. Suddenly corn is hiding in plain sight. Now let's talk about one of the reasons corn became so successful. It's incredibly efficient. Corn produces a large amount of calories from a relatively small area of farmland, which made it extremely valuable for feeding both people and animals. And feeding animals turns out to be very important when humanity collectively decides and enjoys hamburgers. Today, enormous amounts of corn are used as livestock feed, which means even if you're not eating corn directly, there's a decent chance you're eating something that ate corn. At this point, the food chain is basically just corn with extra steps, and the scale of production is staggering. Every year, hundreds of millions of tons of corn are harvested around the world. Entire transportation networks move it, massive industries process it, scientists continue developing new varieties of it, all because a group of farmers thousands of years ago looked at a weird grass and thought, we can improve this. And they were right, which honestly might be the greatest long-term project in human history. Because unlike most historical projects, this one actually paid off. So next time you see a field of corn, remember that you're looking at thousands of years of human innovation. A plant that helped build civilizations, a crop that spread across the globe, and one of the greatest examples of selective breeding ever accomplished. And that is the history of corn. A story of agricultural civilization, and humanity's remarkable ability to spend 9,000 years upgrading grass. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to look at a picture of teosinte, how anyone figured this out in the first place. Thank you, and as usual, like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments what food, ingredients, or drink you want me to cover next. Because apparently, the history of everything is way weirder than it has any right to be.